There we go. Clickety click, barber trick. Do you remember yeah, never mind. Do you remember that? Clickety click, barber trick. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. As always, I'm your host, David Burrows, and two guests here today. So we're going to be having some nice conversations. Looking forward to having my guests on today. And if you haven't been in my Facebook, I do put dad jokes out there once in a while. And yes, I put kind of a corny one out there. Well, dad jokes are corny, right? I mean, that's just what they are. They're corny. They're corny. And let's go to the comments, see who's first. Danny made it first. Happy Monday. Back to you, Danny Cucciamelia. Are you working today, or are you just nothing better to do? Thought I watched the show. And there's Jesse, of course. I bet you Jesse's working. What's the gas prices over there at Petro Canada today, Jesse? And gas prices, I think, don't they usually go up on a Monday, right? I think. Jesse will let us know. He's the human gas buddy around here. I get messages, gas going up. And he works over at Petro Canada at London Road and London and Finch, Lambton Mill Road kind of thing right there. Oh, you're off today. Okay, very good. Well, you deserve a day off. What are you doing on your day off? And Danny, do you ever get a day off, Danny? I don't know. But happy Monday, everybody. It's nice to be back here once again. Boy, it's cold. And I don't complain about the weather at all, but boy, it's cold. And I was watching where was I watching? No, I was at a conference meeting this morning, and we were talking about the weather, and one of my colleagues is out at Ipperwash area there, and he made a good point. He's like, I don't mind the cold, but I'd like to have snow and cold, right? Because then it makes the cold worthwhile. So you can go out and play and all that sort of stuff. Do you still play in the snow? Because I don't. I bought a snowblower, and was it last year I bought the snowblower? It was the year before. I can't remember. But the day I bought the snowblower, we hadn't had any snow, and I remember Jennifer was like, "Well, we haven't had much snow. Don't buy a snowblower." And I bought a snowblower, and the very next day we had this huge snowstorm, so that was my fault. But I'm back into the dad jokes. They seem to put a smile on people's faces. Like I tried to catch some fog, I missed. Crickets. Okay, very good. Yeah, so Danny, you're working today, selling cars. Very good. Nice to have you here. But it is Monday, and the weekend was great. The weekend was especially good for the Sarnia Sting, which we'll be talking about coming up here shortly. But if you haven't done it yet, check out, if you want to keep an eye on what's going on, get the numbers, you can go to lambtonpublichealth.ca. That's the place to get it. Go to my website, theshowlive.live, and sign up for my free newsletter. And also check out things that are happening out on that website, because not everything goes on the Facebook page. There's some other behind the scenes and cool stuff happening there. And something new coming, a new community channel that we'll be talking about. I know I was going to last week, and I'm not quite there yet, but a new community channel coming to you in late February will be the official launch, but we'll be announcing it hopefully next week. So stay tuned for that. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. It might not be here on the show, but we will announce it out there. So make sure you're following and getting the newsletter, because that's where we'll put it out first, actually, to be honest. And of course, Twitter and Instagram, especially Instagram. I as much as a social media guy as I am, I haven't done a ton of stuff on Instagram. Here once in a while, something exceptionally cool I want to show, but lately I've been using Instagram more there. So follow me there. It's Dav Burrows everywhere. So all the social medias, TikTok. Could we please invent another social media platform so that I have to post there too, right? Because how many are we using between TikTok and Snapchat? I don't use Snapchat anymore. That's just not, TikTok, LinkedIn, we're kind of everywhere, but please don't invent a new one, because we're still working on the 1,000 subscribers for YouTube. If you haven't done that as well, you can check that out. Now, we come here every week for all of you, and I appreciate all of you that do come by and watch, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. You are appreciated, but we really appreciate our supporters that make the show possible here. And we'll start off by saying thank you to our friends at Hughes Intelligence, security specialists here in Sarnia-Lambton, not only supporting us here on the show, but they support us at our Sting broadcasts as well. And I've been going, I say we, Jay Peckham was able to join me remotely. So Sarnia Sting happening without the spectators, just us media allowed to be there, which I'm very privileged to be coming to you live from the Hughes Intelligence hockey suite there. So thanks to Hughes Intelligence for that, and thanks to them for all their support. Joe's Discount Tires. I know we haven't had a lot of snow, and I don't remember why, but they explained to me, like, all seasons tires really aren't all seasons tires. You still need snow tires, but go see them down at Joe's Discount Tire and let them know that you saw it here on the show. And also our friends at AG Event Graphics, group of companies, specifically here on Science SWO, been supporting us here for all 10 years on the show. So thanks to Guy and his team for that. And Tourism Sarnia-Lambton, the supporters here on the show, and also at your Sarnia Sting as well. So not possible without our supporters. Now we want to talk about the Sarnia Sting, of course. They've been having, it was like kind of like this. They were kind of like the stock market. They were up and then they were down. But they've really been turning it back on in the new year. They come out and won an amazing game against the Windsor Spitfires. They had previously won against Flint, and then the Windsor Spitfires, not an easy team to beat, a very aggressive team, very physical team. And this was a tennis match. It was 1-0, 1-1. It was back and forth, and the Sarnia Sting came out on top with a final score of 6-5. And special congratulations to Ryan Master, got a goal in there, and it happened to be his birthday as well. So I know he was happy to have a goal on his birthday. What a great way to celebrate that. And then they would go down. So that was on Friday, and then just yesterday, if you're watching live, Sunday, they went down to London for the fourth time in a row to beat the London Knights. Again, not an easy team to beat. London's got to be frustrated because it's usually kind of back and forth between these two, kind of a Highway 402 rivalry. But the Sarnia Sting were able to come out on top 4-2. We'll be back there this Friday coming up, and we'll be talking with hopefully some of the hockey players, maybe some of the coaches before then as well. A lot has been changing on the Sarnia Sting, and they're now getting more and more into that W column, which of course fans are happy to see. Now, while you can't be there live in person as a spectator, I'll be doing my broadcast pregame and intermission. Jay Peckham was joining me. Danny Cochamilio joined me. You can still watch the hockey games on Cogeco's Your TV Sarnia with Terry Doyle and Barry Wright. And of course, listen in for Lee Cunningham and Pat DeRoche. And I got to tell you, we caught Lee. So I'm like right across the arena from Lee Cunningham, and he is standing up and he's like dancing, and just, you should see, he's very animated, and he's talking on the radio, right? But he does an amazing job. He's been doing it for many years, and thanks, Lee, for the great job, and Pat DeRoche in there as well, doing a great job of the play-by-play that you can listen to on 103.9 FM and 1070 AM CHOK, and you can also go to chok.com to listen to the play-by-play as well. I know it's not the same, but at least you can see the game. CHL TV has an app you can download and purchase. I think, don't hold me to it, but I think they're like half price for an online ticket to watch the game. So lots of ways to still sort of be there. And one of the other things that the Sarnia Sting are doing, which I thought was very creative, if you want to cheer on the team, even though you can't be there, if you go to gate number 2, which is the Cogeco gate, and make up your billboard signs and send your message to the team or your favorite player, and go Sting go, whatever you want to put on there. And the staff, you can drop off your signs at the Cogeco gate number 2, and then the staff are picking them up and they're putting them in the seats in the building. So there's some encouragement there for the Sarnia Sting players. All right, so again, I hope you had a good weekend. We've got lots to talk about here, so we're going to jump in. I think we've got both of my guests are here nice and early. Look at that. They're all ready to go and smiling. And we're coming up with Angela Kirkland. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
Great to have you. It's been some time since, I know, obviously, we've seen each other in person, but since we've had you here, so great to have you back.
Great. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And I love how you're styling with the yellow toque. That's part of it all. That's a little bit of what we're talking about here today. Angela Kirkland from Habitat for Humanity. Of course, I know who you are and what you do, but maybe just before we start, tell everybody who you are.
Absolutely. So, hello, I'm Angela Kirkland with Habitat for Humanity Sarnia-Lambton. I'm the Fund Development Manager and look after fundraising, donor relations, sponsorship programs, and this event that's coming up on February 26th.
Yeah, so that's really kept you busy. And I've asked this question to many in your position, but how has it been adapting to coming up with new ways to fundraise for Habitat for Humanity?
It's definitely been a challenge. We had these new events planned back when we first started into lockdown with COVID, and we needed to cancel our events. Event planning and event like these are new for Habitat for Humanity Sarnia-Lambton, and so we were encouraged when we were able to still continue to offer this type of event, which will be outdoors and won't limit any participation with our walkers.
Yeah, and have you had good response with like before we talk about this, but any of the other events that you were putting on as well or able to come up with?
Yes, we had great response in 2021 with our first golf tournament that we ran at Kingswell Glen in Petrolia. That was a great success. Now it was postponed and we had some challenges to re-coordinate that around all the restrictions, but we were thrilled to be able to host that in August last year. And we're going to host it again this year in August, once again at Kingswell Glen in Petrolia.
I like how you're saying we are going to host it again. It's like very confirmed we are doing this.
Yeah,
right?
we are. Definitely.
Awesome.
August the 12th, come out and golf. But before that, we'll walk in the winter.
Yeah, right on. Well, let's talk about that. Coldest night of the year, right?
Yes.
We've had a few of those already, but you're dressing up, staying warm with the yellow toques and everything else. But let's talk about obviously it's the coldest night of the year, but this is a walk. This is a special fundraiser. Talk about it.
Yes, this is a very special fundraiser. It is a winter walk for Habitat for Humanity Sarnia-Lambton. It is hosted by Blue Sea Foundation, and it's a national event, and we're proud to be able to participate in it this year for the first time for Habitat. And it's going to be a 2 and 5K walk taking place in Centennial Park from the Big Family Brewing Company.
Oh, okay. So you've got some sponsors in there helping out as well.
Yes, our lead sponsor is Lambton Ford.
Okay. All right. Great to have that community support in there. And even though, we've seen a lot of, nonprofits in your position that have, struggled to try to get that money in, but it's really been supportive from the business community as well here in Sarnia-Lambton.
Absolutely. Like I said, Lambton Lincoln is our lead sponsor. The event will be hosted from the Big Family Brewing Company. Walkers and participants will be able to have a hot drink at the rest stop that's going to be hosted by McDonald's of Sarnia-Lambton with Colleen and Peter Buckley. Nice. And also with Smith's Funeral Home as a supporting sponsor for the distances that we'll be walking. So We've had a lot of great response, a lot of in-kind support as well. So we're very appreciative of that.
Yeah. Now the community to get involved, and I've seen you've had some other support there as well, like Smith Funeral Home was given some support there as well.
Yes, absolutely. They are our supporting sponsor for the distances. So they'll be supporting 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 3 every kilometer of the route.
Yeah. Now there's more than one way that people can support here. Like I'm seeing like people could start their own team, right? Or you're still taking people to sign up to join your team as well. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes. We have a goal of 16 teams that we would like to encourage to participate with us. And we are halfway there. So we have 8 teams that have registered. Our goal for fundraising is $25,000. And as well, we're about 40% towards that goal.
Oh,
so
nice.
We're very encouraged that we will hit that $25,000 goal and maybe even exceed it. And we are looking for donors as well to assist us with that. So you see our Fill the Toque. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and like it says there, we're raising money for our home build program. So we're just over the 10,000 mark right now. And we want to fill this toque up. So yes, come on and support us.
You still got some time and with this great community we live in, all the support that we get, I see no reason why you wouldn't hit that. So we'll check in with you maybe about a week before, and we'll see if we can put another boost out there if we have to. But let's talk about Habitat for Humanity. Okay, we need to raise this money, and I think probably a lot of people have heard of Habitat for Humanity. But let's just be clear on all the things that Habitat does in its communities.
Okay, well, here in our local community, we have our Habitat Home Build program. So we're supporting families in our community who are pre-homelessness. And so we're trying to prevent homelessness by having our families have the opportunity to own an affordable, safe, decent home in our community. We currently have 4 homes that are being built in 2022, 2 that have carried over from last year and 2 that will be initiated this year. So we have got 2 that were started in Sarnia last year. We're going to wrap those up in the spring. And then we have 2 more that are going to kick off in the spring in Forest. So that's what our main goal is, our home build program, everything that we do with our Restore and our Habitat Handyman program. Any funds that we can raise are going towards to 100% support our home build program.
So so what's raised here in Sarnia-Lambton stays here in Sarnia-Lambton. Is that fair to say?
That's absolutely, yes, that's what I'm saying. 100% of the donations stay within Sarnia-Lambton and go directly to the home build program. 100% of your dollar goes to the home build program.
I think that means a lot to people, you know, when they're donating their dollars or contributing to their choice of charity or nonprofit. They like to know that it's staying here, and it's really this is supporting some need for families here in Sarnia-Lambton. And now you mentioned the Restore. What's that? I guess currently, as of right now, like, are you still open for drive-through, or are you currently closed? What's that looking like for the Restore?
We are currently open for business. Yes, come on in and see us. So we are open for business. We are accepting donations, and we're business as usual.
Right. Very good. So now donations. Let's be clear on that, because I think like there's things you want, but then there's things you don't want too, right?
Okay, yes. So we accept home building materials that have been left over from any home renovations. We have kitchens that have been renovated, and we accept a full kitchen. We've got community home furnishings that anyone would like. If you're looking at redoing anything in your home, you want to drop off your home furnishings, that's awesome. But a couple things that we don't are mattresses and clothing would be a couple good examples of things that we don't accept at the Restore.
Right. Okay. Now, besides all of this, having time to raise money for Habitat, where's the hot chocolate in all of this? Are they going to have some of that out there for the people walking in the cold?
Yes, absolutely. So at the rest stop, at the halfway point of the 2-kilometer walk in Centennial Park, we will have hot drinks available to keep everyone warmed up. As well, following the event back at Big Family Brewing Company, we'll have some soup and chili and a hot drink there as well, if you'd like.
Nice. Well, I'm not one for walking in the cold. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you, Angela, but I'll be happy to make a donation. I'll do that. All right.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Now,
and with my toque here, if you raise $150, then you'll receive one of these toques. There's no entry fee for the event. So if you would like to join us, that's wonderful. We just want you to come on out and support the event, support the cause. The overall cause is to support homelessness in our community. But if you'd like to fundraise, you can get one of the golden toques for $150 raised, and $75 if you're a youth.
Right. Okay. Well, I think I would do it just for the toque, because it's kind of cool looking.
It's very cool.
You'll stand out for sure, and we'll be seeing a lot of those walking around the park on that. What's the date again there?
Saturday, February the 26th. Right? It'll be in the evening between 4 and 7 p.m.
Right. Now, when you say you're looking for volunteers, what would the volunteers be doing for this event?
Primarily, we're looking for volunteers to be our route marshals. So we have, like I said, the 2-kilometer and 5-kilometer route. So we have 2 routes that'll be going through Centennial Park, and we could really use the assistance with route marshaling so that we keep everybody on the right path if they've chosen the 2-kilometer or 5-kilometer route, and keep them, like I said, on the right path. We've got a bit of a winding.
Keep everybody in line.
We've got a bit of a winding route for the 5K route that everyone can look forward to. So we'll need some marshals to kind of direct them in the right direction.
Yes, right. Now, and sponsors, you're still taking on sponsors for this?
Absolutely. Yes. We are still taking on supporting sponsors at $1,500 to support the event. We're taking on event sponsors for, if you'd like to sponsor 1 kilometer, that's $750. Or if you'd like to sponsor the event in itself in general, $500, or in-kind support is always welcome, of course.
Okay, great. And they just reach out to you?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll be posting. Well, we've got the link there on Facebook. You can probably send a message there or go to their website on our screen as well. And we'll post these links after the show as well, so people can find it out. How many do you have on your team right now?
On the Habitat team, we have about, I think about 8 people on our team at the moment.
Okay.
But overall, we have 36 walkers that are registered. So you can create your own team, and that can be as many people as you like, or as little as you like. 2 people can be a team. But if you want to register and you don't want to put a team together, then we encourage you to join us with the Habitat team. And you can locate that at cnoi.org/Habitat Sarnia.
All right. Yeah, we'll share that as well. Any friendly competition between teammates going on there? Like who can raise the most money?
Yes, we do have some friendly competition going on within our staff that are on the team. And we have 2 staff members that have already hit and surpassed their goals.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's on.
It's on. Right on. Well, Angela, thank you so much, and all the best to you and the Habitat for Humanity group for Coldest Night of the Year. I think I'll drive by in my car after, but I'll make the donation. I promise.
That's
I'll do
wonderful.
that. Thanks for being here. Before I let you go, is there anything else that we didn't talk about you want to put out there to anyone?
No, that's wonderful. Just thank you again for the opportunity to promote the event. Like I said, it's the first event for Habitat to do this. We hope to make this an annual event. So come on out and support us so we can continue to do this on an annual basis.
All right, Angela, great to see you again. Stay warm on February 26th. All right.
Thank you. We will.
Bye-bye. Angela Kirkland from Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. Brr. Well, I guess you bundle up really warm. She did mention the hot chocolate, so maybe I could be talked into that as well. I'll have to talk to Jennifer. And the chili sounds really good there as well. Sounds like they got some great sponsors on board. But again, as she mentioned, you can start a team, but they'd love for you to join their team in the support of raising money for building better homes here, and affordable and sustainable homes here for families in Sarnia-Lambton. Or maybe you want to volunteer or sponsor the event. Again, you can go to their website. There it is online, and we'll show this on our Facebook page after this show is over as well. So thanks again, Angela. Really appreciate you being here. All right. Well, I remember the commercial way back when that says reading is fundamental, and it's certainly important to this day. Right, Vanitia Campbell?
It is absolutely so important. I would almost say it's even more important when we're in the middle of, or let's hope more toward the end of, a pandemic, because it has lots of mental health benefits. So if it's just a chance to kind of settle in and maybe escape to a different reality for a bit. But yes, so important.
I always find that, like, of course, at least in my day, you had to read books in school. That was part of your projects or assignments or whatever. And then you get high school and English, all this stuff, and then university or college. But do you find that do they continue to read once they get out of school, or does that decrease? Do you have statistics on that?
I don't have specific statistics in front of me, but I do know, and I actually, before I landed in libraries, was going to be an English teacher. So did lots of education around reading habits and things like that. And I know that the younger you are, when you establish reading habits, the more likely they are to continue later in life. So yes, it can be a little bit difficult when most of your reading is forced reading, I guess, in a sense.
Right.
But if we can find ways to spark that fun reading in people younger, and sustain that kind of through childhood and into the teen years, then people are much more likely to continue on as lifelong readers.
Yeah, it's and that's, I guess, part of the reason we're talking here today. I'll tell you though, I'm a card carrying member, but I also I have my stack of books right here. Like, there's no reason to like pick a subject, right? And we've got great local bookstores too, like the Bookkeeper, and lots of options for that. But the library is a great option. And before we get into the reading program, I have to say, I noticed you can even check out snowshoes with Lambton County Library.
Yes, you can. Yeah. So we have a collection called our Active Living collection.
Yeah.
So snowshoes is a part of that. We've got Ontario Park passes available as well. So if people are interested in snowshoeing around the Pinery, then you can check out a park pass and a set of snowshoes and take that. But yeah, it's definitely the idea that libraries are just a place where we house a bunch of dusty old books is kind of
Right.
a thing of the past, and we're definitely expanding beyond because there's lots of types of literacy. There's the
Yes.
traditional literacy that we all think of, the reading, the writing, but there's physical literacy and getting out and being active, and that's also very, very important. And the library wants to promote all types of literacy.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I was like, who knew, right? I mean, I always knew you can get audiobooks and maybe movies and stuff, like that typical what we think of when we
Yeah.
think of the library and the quiet place, right? But there really is a lot more going on. That's kind of why I brought it up. I want people to understand that there's a whole lot more going on at Lambton County Library. But let's talk about now the winter reading program is happening currently. Talk about that.
Yeah. So our winter reading program, and I believe this is our third year running this. It's always exciting when you start a new initiative just as a pandemic hits.
Yeah.
So it's always been interesting, but this is our third year running it, and we've been kind of building over the past few years. And the winter reading program is kind of the counterpart to our summer reading program, where we're really just encouraging people to read and read a lot, and we want to provide some incentives for reading. So there's our individual reading program where people can register themselves. They join an animal team. So we've got a badger, a red fox, and a painted turtle team this year. They join an animal team. They report all of the books that they're reading each week, and then we go through and we take a look and see if they've reached one of our reading milestones. So for every 5 books you read, you win a book prize, up to a total of 3 possible prizes.
Nice.
And then at the conclusion of the program, we're also going to draw one lucky winner from each animal team, and they will win an adoption package from earthrangers.ca. For the animal that they've selected. So that will come with a plush toy, a certificate, and a calendar to say that you've been supporting this animal species. So that's the individual competition. And then the benefit of the winter reading program is that with summer, the schools are not in session when we're having our programs. So we're not able to partner with schools in the same way. But in the winter, we have the benefit of having schools in session. So we have the school portion where we're encouraging teachers to register their entire class and report their classes reading. At the end of the program, the class that has logged the most reading in different age categories or different grade categories will win a pizza party. COVID, when it's COVID permitted to have that type of thing in the classroom. So we'll make sure that if we have to wait a bit, we'll wait a bit, but that's okay. And there's a K to 12, or sorry, K to 12. There's a K to 3, so kindergarten to grade 3, and then grades 4 to grade 8. And then there's also a high school category, 9 to 12 for our Teen Freedom to Read Challenge as well, which is something that's a little bit different. I can talk about.
Who doesn't like pizza?
I know. You know what? I remember being in school and we would have done pretty much anything for a pizza party.
We had pizza days, right? Pizza day. You could order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the hope, is that, well, we can incentivize people with pizza. And then if multiple classes, or if lots of classes register from the same school and there's lots of involvement, actually the winning elementary school that reads the most books per capita, we want to make sure it's fair for the schools that don't have as many students, will be eligible to win a prize pack worth $250. There's STEAM prizes, so robot kits, building construction kits, literacy packs that they can choose from to support different types of literacy in that school.
Awesome. What a fantastic program that's been put together here. And I mean, if I go back, like, we just went to the library, we didn't have all these fun things going on. And I wish that I had pizza prizes going on back then. But outside of what these programs are that LC Library puts on, and obviously, the schools are a place where you would obviously want to interact with, but are there other local organizations around that the library partners with or works with to help with literacy?
Sure. So, have had lots of discussion with Literacy Lambton around Family Literacy Day, which is happening on January 27th. Unfortunately, some of the in-person stuff that we were hoping to have is not going to happen the same way because of COVID. But Literacy Lambton and the library are working together to put a temporary story walk in McGibbon Park outside of the Literacy Lambton office there. On that day. So that's a fun and safe outdoor activity that people can engage in their family groups.
Yeah.
And that's where we've got the pages of a story on different panels, and you kind of walk through the park and read the story. And I mean, the library's got lots of permanent story walk locations as well that have been updated for the winter reading program. So definitely Literacy Lambton is a great organization that does a ton of work with literacy. And I mean, when things are better, we do definitely support things like early on drop-ins, having story times and things like that at those types of organizations. So there's lots. I mean, right now we're kind of, I don't want to say we're on hiatus from a lot of our partnerships, but there's limited work that we can do.
Yeah. Right.
But there's lots of organizations that do great work. Pathways is another one, like tons of places within Lambton County that are doing absolutely fabulous work for literacy development that the library does when it's able partner with, for sure.
Yeah. And that's great to hear because well, this community, I think you would agree, and I probably hear it every week on the show, is just a huge support in time of need to come together and just, we know how to make things happen in life.
We certainly do.
Right. So we're fortunate that way. So this is for the kids, obviously, or, youth, and all that in there, but this is really something for parents to grab a hold of too. Right. And I guess a tool to help encourage children at home learning right now to continue to push through that reading process. But has the reading process has obviously changed from hardcover and paperback to screen time, right? So is that a factor in we hear about limiting screen time? Are we limiting based on what we're watching or reading, or are we just limiting screen time because of our eyeballs?
Oh, and I'd have to be, I think, a doctor to be able to answer exactly that question.
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, there's been lots of discussion about screen time. There's also been lots of advancements, blue light filtering glasses and things like that can help protect you from those types of things. When it comes to encouraging reading, I'm not picky about how you read. If you're reading off a computer, if you're reading off a tablet, the reality is the workforce and school is kind of moving in the direction of using these electronic tools anyway. So yeah, I'm sure I know that there's lots of research out there specifically talking about how it can different activities on a screen can maybe impact people's anxiety and that type of thing. But reading, we're flexible. We've got a great e-library resource. We've got Overdrive and Libby. We've got something called Tumble Book Library. So if that's the easiest way for people to access reading, then go for it. That's perfectly fine. The benefits of reading are so strong that we wouldn't want to pigeonhole someone a little bit into one format. If they don't
just exercise the mind, right?
Exactly. Just and
keep the wheels, don't let them get dusty.
Yeah, and you made a really good point about partnering with parents as well. We've talked a lot about partnering with schools, but your parents are kind of your very first and best teacher, especially when we're talking about those preschool kids. Just reading with your kids, whether they can read yet or not, is so important developmentally. So, and it doesn't matter if you read the same book 1,000 times, but the goal here is to read at least 1,000 books before your kid gets to kindergarten, because that is just so good for their early literacy development for many reasons. So yes, you're right. Partnering with parents and encouraging that that activity of reading in the house is also going to help promote lifelong reading in our younger patrons.
And it promotes family time.
Yes,
honest with that too, right?
Yeah.
And that's important with that adds into mental health and everything else that we're talking about here today. Now, interesting though, you say read 1,000. Did you say read 1,000 books before kindergarten?
Yep.
Wow. Now, I let me share something I discovered a long time ago that somebody shared with me, and I thought, you say 1,000 books. That sounds like a lot, but I found, like, if I went up to my students and said, "Here's 12 books." And they're 300 pages each. Go read them. I think a lot of people go, whoa, 12 books. I can't read 12 books. But here's what I discovered. If you read 10 pages of a book every day, and you'll likely get enthralled in it,
Yeah.
well-written book, so you'll likely do more than 10. But 10 pages, that means you'll read a book a month at 300 pages, right? So in 1 year, you've read 12 books. And when you put it in that perspective, that's I can read 10 pages, whatever level you're at, right? So it's really just 10, 15 minutes a day would really accomplish getting to that 1,000 books by kindergarten, wouldn't it?
Well, if you figure we've got 365 days in a year and the average kid is 4, maybe at the end of their 3rd year, when they go to kindergarten, that's a book a day. Essentially, and maybe a couple more. And like I said, it doesn't have to be 1,000 different books.
No.
It's really actually very good for childhood early literacy development to reread the books that the kids want to reread. So you might read the same book every day for a month, and that counts. That's perfectly fine. So that's just, and programs like this winter reading are just a great opportunity to say, hey, actually take time to make that a habit, reading either with the family or instilling that in your kids and teens as well. This year, we've expanded our winter reading program a little bit to include our teens. And actually, I don't want to say winter reading. We've actually pulled the teens out of the winter reading program and created an entire program specifically for our teens called the Teen Freedom to Read Challenge. And we wanted to make sure that our teens had something geared specifically toward them. They are maybe a little bit more, they've been engaging with books a little bit differently for a while by the time you hit the teenage years. So we've asked them to specifically look at reading books from the Freedom to Read challenged book list. So these are books that have been challenged. Somebody's asked that they be removed from the public library or maybe a school library for various reasons. And we've been asking our teens to take a look at that list, see if anything piques your interest, read some books off the Freedom to Read challenged book list, and report that reading back to us. And there's just been a lot of discussion, important discussion recently about access to information and that kind of thing, intellectual freedom. So our teens are at a perfect age to be kind of grappling with these concepts and thinking about.
It gives them a say.
Yeah, why is it that we read these texts, and why is it that we should have access to these texts? So there's the individual competition for Teen Freedom to Read, which at the end of the program, one person will be drawn to win a $50 Amazon gift card. And then there's also the opportunity for classes to register, just like the winter reading program, and compete for a pizza party. So that's another
pizza too. They do in college too,
Yes. Yeah. So that is that's the Teen Freedom to Read Challenge. Very much like our winter reading program, but just wanting to make sure we don't kind of drop our teens once they hit 13 and stop providing opportunities for them to engage with
Keep
this
them
type
involved.
of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is just like go get your library card, folks. Like, come on. Like, all this stuff's going on with the library. Now, right now, how do people access it? Like, you're not open right now, or you are? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, the libraries are still open.
Okay.
There's reduced capacity, of course. But yeah, if you just go into a library, you don't even have to make an appointment anymore. You can still just kind of pop into a library. If you want to use a computer or use sit in the library to use Wi-Fi, you'd have to make an appointment. But if you're looking to get a library card, just pop into your local library branch. They've got all of the kind of COVID protocol set up so that you'll be able to have a safe visit, and you can just talk to the person at the desk to help register for any of these programs, help you get a library card. There's all kinds of things that they can help you with at that library. So I very much encourage people to pop in and visit in person if they can.
Very good. Now, Vanitia, you and your team there are so busy with all of these programs, putting them together. Do you still get time to read?
I do actually. And you know what? It's funny when you were talking about being in school and being in university and do you continue reading after? I had a good dry spell where I didn't want to read anymore. I studied literature in school and I thought there's just so much stress involved in
I've
it.
read
And
enough.
when the pandemic hit, actually, oddly enough, I went back to my parents' house. I filled a book with all of my old books from when I was a kid and I started rereading stuff that I love. So I reread Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings and
Oh, wow.
just some stuff that I really, really loved, and it got me back into loving reading again. So, I mean, I maybe don't read as much as I did when I was a kid, but I'm averaging a couple of books a month, and definitely need to read for my position because I need to know what's new and exciting. And if I'm bringing an author in for an author talk, then I need to make sure I've read the material and I know that it's worthwhile bringing them in for that. So I
Yeah.
definitely make the time to read again. It might be 15 minutes a day, but
That's all you gotta do.
it's all you got to do. Yep.
I can appreciate what you're saying there because I narrate audiobooks for
Mm,
authors, and when I first started doing that, it's almost 2 years ago now. I remember saying, you can imagine all the different subjects that I read, right? You know,
yes.
by forced because they're paying me to read it, right? It might not even be a subject I know anything about. But I warned my wife. I said, "You better watch out. I'm going to be like super smart."
But it's so true. The more you read, the
Yeah,
more kind of information is getting crammed into your brain. So it's just such an awesome you learn a lot, and it's reading's just also awesome for developing kind of soft skills like empathy and
yeah.
understanding because you place yourself into a character and just gain a greater understanding of others that way. So there's just so many benefits to reading.
I still, for me, it's I mean, the obvious, being creative and learning and all that stuff. But for me, I have a learning disability, and I've had it since about grade 3. I think they discovered it, and I still have to read a paragraph or a page like more than once to
Hmm.
to get it
Yep.
right. So that right there is it's probably the number one reason that I do read, aside from I just love to learn new things, right? And then I think I'm an expert, but I love to learn new things. But that for me is a training mechanism, right? Which is
Right.
really what reading is too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's all kinds of I know lots of people that have various challenges with reading, and it can be a frustrating
Yeah,
experience when you have to take kind of like break sentences down one word at a time, and it takes a lot more time. And again, I mean, I would say the same thing with that. You had made a really great point. 15 minutes, 10 minutes a day. Don't look at the whole and say, "Oh my goodness, I'm never going to get through this." Just read what feels good
yeah,
and then stop. If it's
yeah.
too much,
Stop when you've
stop
had
when you're
enough, and you
done.
full stop.
Yeah, you don't wanna and the same with kids. We wanna encourage people to read in these reading programs, but we also don't want parents to make them hate the reading because they're like, "No, you
Right.
gotta read these books." So
Oh, I gotta sit with dad
we
again.
want it to be fun, and that's one of the reasons we have the pizza parties and all of that stuff is we wanna make it fun, but we also don't want the process of winning that pizza prize to become too onerous. But yeah, just stop when it doesn't feel good anymore and pick it up, and hopefully you're able to kind of you're right, like, get hooked and want to read more. But yeah, there's lots of things that can make reading
Hot
challenging.
chocolate works too.
Tea, hot chocolate,
Yeah.
coffee, well, maybe not coffee for our kids, but
Yeah,
yes, all
hot
those things.
chocolate. That's what mom did for me when I was a wee boy. It's like, "Well, you
When
want
I was
some
in
hot chocolate
school
later, David?"
yeah, when I was in school and I had to do, assigned readings, I'd put candy on the pages, and I didn't get to eat the piece of candy until I got to the bottom of that
Oh.
paragraph, so there's all kinds of ways to there's all kinds of ways to encourage yourself to read, so yes,
Be
we
creative. There you go.
be creative,
Awesome.
use your own strategies, we're not picky, just read.
Right on. Real quick. Wow, look at the time. I do want to ask you one more. We were talking about, did you talk about this species at risk,
No, I
right?
haven't highlighted any of our
Yeah, let's
programs
talk about
actually,
that because
yeah.
I'm really curious about this.
Yeah, so, Asable Bayfield Conservation Authority, they put on one awesome virtual program. Sometimes virtual programs can be really difficult, and they've just done really, really well with their virtual programs. So we've got these 2 coming up, this week. So we've placed one during the school day in case we've got schools that, want to join, or maybe someone's homeschooling and wants to have that as part of, the school day, and then we've got one in the evening for those who aren't able to attend as part of a class and want
Okay.
to join. We actually initially were gonna have that Thursday evening one in person, but we've moved it virtually. And they're gonna be talking about species at risk and the types of things that we can do to help, in our watershed area to help species at risk. So that's something that they're very interested in as part of a conservation authority. And there's just going to be some amazing little bits of information, and their presentations are always so interactive. So we encourage anyone that's interested at all in animals, and especially like local ecosystems, to sign up and join with that. Yes.
I always found that really interesting, because there's so many species and creatures around us here in Lambton County, probably more than we even realize, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think so. We had a great program in person before the pandemic with the Sauble Bayfield Conservation Authority, and they brought in a bunch of water bugs. And I grew up on a farm, and I'm looking at all these water bugs and thinking, like, I've never seen half of, like, that's what a dragonfly larva looks like. It's amazing. So they're just super, they've got so much information, and they love to share and make lifelong learners out of people that are especially people that are interested in the natural world.
Yeah. Vanitia, you can tell you're passionate about what you do. You can hear it in your voice, and you're always smiling when you're talking about it. So we're fortunate to have somebody like you on the team there at Lambton County Library. So thank you, and please thank everybody else that's part of all of this, and keep it up. And if you don't have your card, go get one.
Yes.
I lost mine, so I have to go, like, they'll renew it, I'm sure, right?
Yes,
but,
yes.
I have to find it and start taking advantage. Snowshoes, it's still sitting there with me. That's awesome.
It would be really handy for those folk who are in Toronto today.
No kidding, right? And yeah, we kind of missed all of that.
We did.
Except that I didn't get to play with my snowblower. But
yeah.
Thanks so much, boy. We've covered a lot. Is there anything else that you want to throw out there that we maybe didn't touch before I let you go?
I'll just mention we've got a lot of programs related, mostly virtual, related to our winter reading program. There's a couple of author talks, 3 author talks in February, including one with Brock, who wrote Hard Road to Victory on the Chatham-Kent All-Stars, the all-black baseball team. There's been a kind of a push to get that team into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So there's a number of options if people just go to our website, lclibrary.ca, and check out our calendar. There's lots of stuff happening throughout the months of January and February, and you can register to attend those online.
Awesome. Vanitia, thank you so much for your time, and I'll look forward to always a great conversation. Please come back again.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now. Vanitia Campbell from Lambton County Library. There's so much more. We could have just kept talking to Vanitia, because there's lots going out there. And don't forget, those libraries are there. I think we kind of forget that sometimes all these resources are available to us. And as you heard Vanitia and I talking about the importance of reading, even just a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes a day, take a break out of the day, sit down. And it doesn't have to be a really thick book or anything like that, just something. So you're exercising the mind, so to speak, and check them out. Simply go online to lclibrary.ca, as Vanitia mentioned. They're also on Facebook as well, and you can get all the information or send them a message there as well. And they are open, so you can still currently drop in, limited people allowed in, but you can still drop in there. So that's fantastic. And snowshoes, I'm still going, like, I didn't know you could get snowshoes. What a cool thing. All right. Well, that's all the time I got for you this week. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by. And one more time, I will say thank you to our supporters, Hughes Intelligence, and here in Signs SWO, Joe's Discount Tire, Tourism Sarnia-Lambton, and of course, all of you for being here. Check out the posts after the show with all the links that we talked about. And I think that's it. Yeah. So enjoy the rest of your week. That's all the time I got for you today. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now. I'm going to read a book. Yes, I am.